Woods appeared at the door in San Diego at one of my events. I said, that guy looks familiar as he walked up. It was just us people. You know how hotel bars are usually, especially on a Thursday night or something, there's just nobody in there. Well, our group was in there, but that was it. And this guy appeared at the door. It was no bigger than this room. I was sitting at a table back here. I said, that guy looks really, really familiar to me. I don't know who he is. And then he walked up and he sat down at the table near me. I resisted the urge to say hi. This was before all of his scandals. So you never know who's going to show up. So let's just imagine that Stevie Wonder shows up. I told you I designed cases for Stevie Wonder. So let's just imagine that Stevie Wonder shows up one night. Now, I want you to imagine that Stevie Wonder is sitting in the back of the room, and you're in the front of the room, and you would like to get Stevie, and in case you don't know, Stevie's blind, right? You want to get him where he's seated, past the obstacles, and safely out the door behind you, right? Don't want to make a big scene, just want to get him out. So there are a couple of options. You could tell Stevie what to do, right? You could tell him what to do. Okay, so walk across the room, avoid the obstacles, and go through the door behind me. Would that be very helpful? Probably not so much. You could tell him how to do it. When I ask people to tell me what they want to do and stuff like that. You want me to tell you what to do? You want me to tell you how to do it? They all say, yes, that's what I want. I want you to think about why you want to do it. So if you told Stevie, stand up slowly, keeping your head down below 3 feet, move forward 6 inches, turn a 68-degree angle to the right, move your left foot 6 inches, and keep going, through that list. Would that be really helpful? Be pretty slow. You could give Stevie a good reason why to do it. There's a man about to blow your head off with a gun. Get out of here because he's trying to kill you. What do you think Stevie would do? He'd get the heck out of there. It didn't matter if there were 10 tables. If he really believed me, he would get the heck out of there, right? He would just do it. Whatever it took. So which works best in real life? Think about what you want to do. I'm a really slow learner. You heard a long list of things, required a bunch of knowledge, but I'm a slow learner. There's only 3 things I've discovered over a lifetime that I absolutely know to be true. Absolutely know to be true. The first one, this guy figured out a long time before me, but I'm going to take credit for it anyway because I figured it out without knowing who the heck he was and what he said anyway. Anybody know who that is? Huh? Yeah, it's Descartes. Yeah. He said, I think, therefore I am, right? So I was a teenager. Any of you been messed up teenagers? I'm looking at you. No, I don't know, Jane. I'm looking at you because you got a friendly face, and I need all the help I can get. Scott looks pretty friendly too. I like that. I was a messed up teenager, though. Not that I was bad. I wasn't into drugs. I wasn't misbehaving. I just was thinking I was crazy. I was insane. I was losing my mind. I'd say, I don't know if God exists. I don't know. My dad was a preacher, by the way. I don't know if God exists. I don't even know if the world exists. And then I thought about it, and I thought, well, you're thinking about it, so you must exist, right? So the first thing I figured out at about 14 years old was I existed. It only took me another 50 years to figure out the second thing. You'll be really, really relieved to know this. I figured out that you exist. The reason I figured that out the only absolute thing that I could believe was knew for certain, absolutely, I existed. And guess what, Jada? Especially at this moment, you're in my world. So I know you exist, at least in my world. I may have made you up, you know. But if you're thinking about me right now, I exist in your world too. And the only people that I can impact right now are the people in my world right now. And that's you, and you. I'm going to call out my friend Larry Steinhaus. This is his usual disclaimer. He goes through this disclaimer at the start to show you the risks of real estate investing and stock options. And it gets down to, I don't know, do you have a pointer on this? Any claims made on this presentation are my results or the stated results of my students. Your results may differ. Results are based on effort. I promise you, if you do nothing, your results will be wrong. Wrong, Larry Steinhaus. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, Larry Steinhaus. Did I get the point across? Wrong. How many people here are in real estate? What happens if you buy a house and you do nothing with the house? It rots. That house rots. I guarantee you, I had a huge maple tree, fell in the back of my yard, took up the entire thing. It rotted within 3 years. They stacked up the lumber in a section. It was rotted. What if you're a mother and you do nothing with your kid? Now, here's an example right up here on the front row of a wonderful mother. I've seen it in action, right? But if she did nothing with her kid, if her kid was not here learning this stuff, what difference would that make in that kid's life? Just didn't show up. But not just that kid. Every person that kid comes into contact with forever and ever and ever. And the chain goes forever and ever and ever. So this is what I call MacArthur's Law. It's not a feel-good thing. It's not a feel-good thing. It's you make a difference whether you want to or not. That could be bad, it could be good. You make a difference whether you want to or not. That's why I do everything that I do. That's my why. It's because I know that just by existing and deciding to go one way or another, making a choice to go to the right or the left, saying a kind word to somebody, and it's the small things that make the difference, right? It's the small things. You have impacted literally thousands and thousands of people. And I also know if you use all the art, science, and technology that I've learned and that you've learned over these years and we have available at our fingertips, every single one of you in this room, and I mean that literally, could impact millions of people. How do I know? Because I'm no different than you. And I know for a certainty that I've done it. Just ask some of the people that have known me for a dozen years if I've made any difference in anybody's life. Glenn and I were talking about it. We've probably known each other, I don't know, 10 years now or more maybe. 12 years now. Of all the different people and all the relationships that were built, just built around that. Or ask Eli, who I've known for ages, or asked Larry, have I impacted anybody's life, really? Have I made a difference? I know you have too. So I would love to go through every one of your dreams and explore how to make your dream a reality. If you've got a good reason why you want to do something really, really big, I would like to impact your life. The reason I want to impact your life is one of Larry's selfish reasons here, because I know that the people who use the systems I've developed over a lifetime to create impact and to multiply that impact into millions and millions of people, the easiest and the most efficient way that I can do it is to impact impactors, right? So if I impact 10 people that impact 30 million people, would that be useful? Yeah. Once did the 6 degrees of separation. Everybody know what 6 degrees of separation is? Yeah, Kevin Bacon, right. He didn't think of that, but but he sure did capitalize on it, didn't he? Yeah. So I figure it's down to 3 or 4 now. I have contacts with every living president within a couple of degrees, you know, and probably you do too. I'm not saying I'm somebody special. I'm just saying that we know somebody who knows somebody, and we're connected. I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. If, by the way, any of you want to become friends on Facebook, that's a great way to connect with me. I have to kick off somebody to put you on, but just let me know that you put in a friend request, and I'll find you and find somebody to kick off. Some of my friends die off from time to time. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to use an example of me. So how many people, is there anybody in the room? Is there anybody in the room that would like to make a feature film? We can use this. Oh, really? Oh, really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wow. I did too. I made my first feature, completed my first feature film at 71 years old. How much money do you think you have to make? Oh, thank you. So it's not too late for you folks. How much money do you think you got to have to make a feature film? You need a cell phone. All right, yeah. Pedro says it's $0. I invested $0 into this. Literally 0. I have a unique relationship with my wife. We made a deal really, really early on. She said I didn't make enough money. I doubled it in the first 2 weeks we were married. She said that's still not enough. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. I'll give you all the money that I make for the rest of my life, and you can just have it. Okay? I'll live in a little one-room thing. I'll eat whatever's, around the house. You have the money, because what I care about is doing exactly what I want to do. Anybody feel that way? That like you just like to do exactly what the heck you want to do? Yeah, that was me. So that was my deal. I'm not sure I make the same deal exactly the same way now, 41 years later. But I had no money to put into this. Now, don't feel sorry for me. I've been in the top 2% of the wealthiest people in the world. I'm not starving, so you don't have to take any pity on me. My first joint venture, I did $250,000 worth of recurring revenue. Recurring means it happens over and over and over again in the first 6 months. So, and that was done by just creating something out of nothing. So I blanked my screen. These are the things you need to do. You can take a picture of that. I'm not going to go into great detail on this. I have a whole action system. When am I supposed to be off? At noon? Okay. So here's what here's what I would tell you if you want to create a feature film. We're going to use this as an example, but you can use this for any project that you want to do. First of all, figure out why the heck you want to do this. Do you really want to do this? If you don't want to do it and you don't enjoy doing the things you're going to have to do it, don't do it. Do something else, because there's about 30 million other options of things that you could be passionate about and want to do and really, really want to get involved in it. Okay, so don't do it. Did I make this emphatic enough? Don't do it if you don't like doing it. Find somebody else to do it, hire it out, whatever, but realize that that's a whole nother level of things to do, right? Or get passive stuff. So the first thing I did was I used a little marketing technique that I taught Larry Steinhaus. I wanted to build a community. So the first thing you should do is to build an audience. I had never created a feature film. I knew nothing about creating feature films, and I wanted to build a community. So I went on Meetup and I joined a bunch of filmmakers meetup groups. And then one day, the leader of the Philadelphia Filmmakers Meetup Group decided he didn't want to pay the monthly fee for being the leader of the group. And what Meetup does is it sends out notices to everybody that's in that group and say, you want to take over as leader? Because your leader just left. And I said, yeah, I'd like to be the leader of that group. I did it really fast. By the way, we use this same technique to add 30,000 people in meetup groups to Larry Steinhaus's investor schooling in a very, very short 2 days or something. Over 2 years, right? Right. We had one really, really good day when a leader of dozens of the top real estate meetup groups in the Philadelphia area, which is a major market, by the way, just decided, I don't want to pay for all these meetup groups anymore. Stepped away, right? It wasn't very active, but there were a couple thousand people in it. Now there's over 5,600 people in this community. And I exercise a technique I call one level up. If you would like to make connections, create joint ventures, work with top level people, I suggest that you bring them together and be their leader. So one level up. When I did my first joint venture, I told you $250,000 worth of recurring revenue in the first 6 months. It was with one guy. I said, boy, that's pretty good. I just sent emails back and forth, and that was how I made $250,000 worth of recurring revenue in the first 6 months. This JV stuff is pretty powerful. And I said, who else would you like to JV with? And I sent out an email and invited a group of top-level marketers and said, would you like to work with each other? I'm starting this group. We worked together and we built mailing lists of 30 million people, just working as a small group. Was I a top-level marketer at that point? No, I wasn't. I was just the guy that brought them all together, one level up. But now I'm leading the people that are doing it. I suggest you do the same kind of thing. Build a community. And then let's make something. Let's try it out and see if anything works. Just try it out. See if anything works. See if I can really make a film at all, right? So I put together from that group, a group of people, and we put together a little short film. And the short film was called Impact Manifesto, and it was all written around, it was a real short script, really, really short, got even shorter. That was about how we all make a difference whether we want to or not. And I got people from that group to come down and volunteer. We set up in little locations, and the DP volunteered, and the crew volunteered, and I put together a little thing to try and raise funds and awareness for over 100 nonprofit organizations. So it's called the Impact Manifesto. Dim the lights, run the video.
Sometimes it feels like you're running this rat race all alone. Nobody's listening, nobody cares, nobody would even miss you if you were gone. If Francesca hadn't been late for her meeting, if Jack hadn't checked his brakes, if Daniela hadn't worn her favorite outfit, if John's mom hadn't crossed the street, if Francesca hadn't stopped for coffee, if Jack's eyes hadn't been scanning the neighborhood, things would have been different. Jack Stanford could have chosen to ignore the tiny shiver of vibration and a hint of a squeal because he had a host of other issues on his mind. Common sense and daily use prove the fact. Brakes work all the time. Francesca has a frantic drive to be better than anyone in the room. Frantic today means a driving need for coffee, but she can't make the usual stop without messing up her flawless arrival. Francesca makes the choice to risk it. If Jack hadn't been focused on Daniela, his van might not have drifted 15 inches to the right. And if Francesca hadn't been looking at her papers, she might have noticed that she missed Jack's van by just 3 inches, just before Jack had to quickly use his new brake pads, which stopped his van 6 inches away from 9-month-old baby John, who was able to have a remarkable life. Even if Francesca didn't notice, every choice mattered. Every choice you make, no matter how small, has incredible impact on the world around you, because you aren't running this rat race all alone. Every choice you make impacts thousands, and working together, we can impact so many more. You make a difference whether you want to or not. So why don't we work together to make your impact positive and powerful? Jump right in, discover the impact factor, and make a difference in a noisy world.
Sorry. For those of you in the area, I'm not a pro anymore. It's been 1.5 years since I've spoken anywhere. For those of you who are in the area, it was a 3-day shoot, all volunteers. They all came together. Tyler Park was where you saw people were running. So if you're a local here, maybe you recognize Tyler Park. The Langhorne Coffee place, we went in and used their facility there. Both of those cars were mine at the time. So the police stopped. They saw the big camera that was actually filming kind of behind the scenes of doing this and said, "Do you have a film permit?" And I said, "Film permit in Langhorne?" We kind of walked out of that, but we made something, didn't we? Right? We proved that something could be done. Here's what I figured out. What's a feature film? Yeah, if it's in 4K, it's so many pixels wide and it's so many pixels high, and it goes on for maybe 90 minutes, maybe whatever. That's how many pixels you need, right? We just made a bunch of pixels there, so I guess we could do it again, right? Does that make sense to you? So let's go on to the next thing. Story matters, right? Your message matters. How many people remember kind of what MacArthur's Law is? Yep. Very good. You make a difference whether you want to or not. I crafted that message for a long, long time. I went to a 3-day event and I had, before I spoke at that event, people were saying, as Ken MacArthur says, you make a difference whether you want to or not, over and over. And others, maybe it was triggered because I happened to be in the room, but they remembered it, right? You want to keep things simple, memorable, repeatable, so that people can spread your message. That's one of the laws. I worked with a 3-time Academy Award-winning screenwriter and producer. How do you do that? How would you folks do it? Yeah, call them up. Yeah. Anybody know Jeff Bezos? Anybody know him personally? You met him? When I wrote my first book, I contacted his office and said, "Hey, would you like to be interviewed for my book?" He said, "No, I'm sorry, I don't have time for it." I said, "Okay, that's one down." The second one I called was Craig Newmark. You know who Craig is? Craigslist, yeah. Craigslist has a few $1 million under his belt. He said, sure. I called him up. He was looking at hummingbirds in his backyard, and he had an NBC crew waiting to do an interview with him, and we just had a nice chat, on the phone. We're still Facebook friends years later, and he still comments on my posts and things like that. Why? Because I asked him, right? I just called up and asked him. Same thing with this. Actually, her brother worked on the screen. Spoke at some of my events, and he said, "Let me introduce you to my sister." I don't think they got along that well, but he introduced me to her. She was disillusioned. She was in her 50s, maybe. She'd been in the film business. She'd won 3 Academy Awards, and she felt like she couldn't make a movie because the industry has changed. It's impossible to make a movie. I'm 71 years old. I never made a movie. We went back and forth and back and forth. I think I kind of inspired her, and I think she kicked my butt in several different ways. And I created the script. Don't think it's too late, folks. Don't think it's too late. We did casting. I got a free listing off of Backstage because I put up a casting call somewhere, and they said, "Hey, would you like a free listing on Backstage?" I said, "Sure." And I put up my one project. We had over 2,000 actors that auditioned for it, and if you looked at the experience they've had, they've been on every major TV show that you've ever imagined and a lot of the feature films that you've ever imagined. So it was pretty amazing. And then the next step was we tried to kind of create a little teaser, because if you're going to try and get money to create something, and it does take some money to do a film, then you should show people that you could do something. So you want to run the teaser that we made?
Start walking one direction. Every cross street, flip a penny. Heads go right, tails go left. No telling where you will end up.
There's a 5-mile radius around Philadelphia City Hall where residents from all walks of life are searching for power, peace, and forgiveness. The smallest series of actions about to change everything. You can choose to help, or you can choose to lie.
You take care of me, I'll take care of you.
But as the mayor's chief of staff, there's no getting around it.
The mayor will now take your question.
You make a difference, whether you want to or not, and your choice matters more than you can ever imagine. It's only 4 miles from City Hall to the Badlands, but they're worlds apart. The impact of your smallest actions lasts forever, and there's no way to stop it.
When you do something for the right reasons, nothing bad happens.
This is your defining political rule. Want me to shoot a few holes in it?
There could be a few exceptions.
Destiny drifting has been implicated in the political strong-arming of Sam Robinson.
Nothing about justice is black and white. The only way to get control is to take it.
Life is like a penny walk. You're going in one direction, but at every corner, you get a choice.
Okay, kill it. Try and speed this up. So, little teaser. The little girl was in there. Came down from Connecticut, actually. We spent about 3 days filming just a little bit of stuff. It was a different DP because one had gone away. It was different actors that I kind of got to come in and step in and say, hey, we're going to try and do something. And a great composer that I met at one of the filmmaking meetups, and we slapped this thing together, and we said, now we're kind of off to the races. And So now we had a teaser. I put together a lot of work, but I put together a Kickstarter campaign. How many people have heard of doing Kickstarter campaigns? It's good, it's dangerous, it's awful, it's another world of things. I'll short circuit the circuit, but play just a little bit of the trailer that we put together for Kickstarter.
It's a pretty tough world out there. Maybe you'd like to pretend it isn't so, but there's no denying the truth. You make a difference whether you want to or not, even if you choose to do nothing. I'm Ken MacArthur, the producer of the Impact Factor movie, a drama about people from all walks of life who live and work within a 5-mile radius of Philadelphia City Hall. In this tiny area, the power brokers of City Hall coexist with the residents of some of the most drug-infested areas of the country. These people are just like you and me, deep in the search for power, peace, forgiveness, and meaning in a very noisy world. The Impact Factor movie was inspired by a Jamaican immigrant who told me his story. A young woman from his neighborhood told him she needed $5,000.
What do I care? I know you don't. What I do know is Judge says coming with $5,000 by Tuesday or he's sending me up to state prison.
His neighbors told him it was a scam and to ignore her, but he made the choice to get involved. As a result of this quiet man's persistence, a ring of extortionists that included a corrupt judge, assistant DA, and a parole officer was brought down, and countless young people were spared. Produced in the style of movies like Crash, Magnolia.
I got 30 minutes still? Okay, all right. So, Kickstarter. How many people have heard it's an easy way to make money? Yep. Well, it's made a lot of people a lot of money. They've raised millions and millions and millions of dollars on Kickstarter. Everybody that donated to my Kickstarter campaign, I knew personally. We were in the top level of all the film projects on Kickstarter, within the top 3, sometimes as high as top 1 of the Kickstarter campaigns on Kickstarter. Why do you think that was? Because I was such a well-known filmmaker, or create a community. I had a community. If you do not have a community and you're going on Kickstarter, I suggest that you not go on Kickstarter. It is a heck of a lot of work. Number one, it's a work. I didn't show you the whole video for the Kickstarter campaign, but it's a lot of work to put together a 3-minute video that has all of the kinds of reasons why you should donate to this project and why you should get inspired by it. But I'd spent a long time building up community, and I'd been talking for a long time about my project and building that up, and it was still hard. Now let me back up a moment and give Larry Steinhaus a little bit of credit, because he never gets enough credit. So I was sitting here in investor schooling, and I was working away, helping him with marketing. I'd say that people within the company ask me, what the heck do you do at investor schooling? I'm not an employee of investor schooling, but I'm here on a regular basis, and I say that my job really is just to try and keep Larry Steinhaus as sane as possible. So that's my real job. But Larry, I kept telling him, I want to make a movie. I don't have any money, but I want to make a movie, right? Because believe me, my wife is not going to say, here's $100,000, here's $500,000, let's just go out and make a movie, because this is not her interest at all. Number one, the genre that she would watch a movie for is not this genre, right? She doesn't want any heavy truths, or what she likes is, I don't know. I'm not sure what she likes. after all these years. She liked Kevin Costner for a while, I think. But this is not her dream. This is my dream, right? And she's not gonna be really happy about me taking money out of my personal account to fund this. So, so what would you do? What would you do to get money? Network with people. Yeah. Any other ideas? I mean, seriously, what would you do? You want to make a movie? There were at least a bunch of you. What would you do? Huh? Sell something. Yeah. You could substitute. Could substitute cash for dollars. You could make something. I made deals. part of what I did was make deals. I had to make sure that whatever money I raised went into the special account that was for this film, right? So this doesn't come out of my wife's account. This comes out of the film account. This comes out of the film account. So anything that I did, something big or small or whatever, and they'd say, "You want cash?" At one point, Larry said, "You brought somebody in here. I'm gonna, just out of the free will of my heart, give you a nice chunk of change. Do you want it?" And I said, "No, but the film wants it." and it got donated. Yeah. Yeah. So Kickstarter. So Kickstarter. So let me go back to that for just a second. So Kickstarter is not bad if you have a community, but it's highly, highly disappointing. We raised, is the number up there? No, this is an earlier thing. This was when it was just starting out. We funded $26,000 of a $20,000 goal on Kickstarter. I wrangled all of those things, every penny of that money out of people that I knew. And the way I did it was I created as much massive value as I possibly could. I tried to give them rewards that were significant. So I gave away masterminding stuff. I gave away copies of the movie. If you're going to do that kind of stuff, you have to be really strategic about what kinds of things you give away, because all of these things cost money, right? So if you give away T-shirts, what do you have to do? You have to buy T-shirts. You have to design T-shirts. You have to ship T-shirts. You better not say, and Kickstarter is an international platform, better not say you're shipping them overseas, right? Because it could cost you $100 to send them to some places and it still wouldn't get there. Strategically, you try to do digital rewards or in-person rewards. We gave away tickets to our cast and crew party screening, yeah. Yeah, those kinds of things. I mean, we had choices between platforms. So there's Indiegogo. Indiegogo is a similar kind of a platform. You can do. How many people have heard of the Jobs Act? The Jobs Act. So the Jobs Act freed up some great ways for people to be smaller investors. You used to have to be an accredited investor, so that you could, for some projects, you could set up a special situation and have people invest as little as $2,000 in your project or something like that. But that's a different, more complicated process, right? The reason I ended up going with Kickstarter is because it is an all or nothing platform. So if my goal is $20,000 and I raise $19,000, I don't get anything. But I don't have any responsibility either. I don't have to do the movie, if I don't raise enough money. You think you can make a movie for $20,000, a feature film? How much do you think it costs to make a feature film? Realistically, something of decent quality. 10 million? 1 million. Yeah. The most profitable ones in independent film are 1 to 3 million. 1 to 3 million is where you could hope to get your money back. It's not that the 10 million features, independent features aren't better. Great. But it really makes a difference. Now here's the secret downside to Kickstarter. We raised funded. People put in their credit cards and said, we will give you 26,000 some odd dollars into Kickstarter. Guess how much money I put in my pocket from that? Why do you think I put nothing in the pocket? Now, how much did I put in the bank account? You think Kickstarter just raises all these money and keeps them all? How much do you think I made out of $26,000? 20? What do you think? Anybody else want to take a guess? They get their fee. It's not 10%, I don't think. It's like a couple 3% or something like that, I think, like that. Not much. Here's the secret they don't tell you. Kickstarter does not charge any of those cards until the campaign is funded. Is that right? How many people have $1,000 payments go on your credit card 3 months later and have problems with them? I mean, my credit card may be expired by then. Maybe it's an unexpectedly large amount. So Kickstarter is nice enough to go out and give them a reminder and say, hey, your credit card bounced. You need to update it. But they'll give you about 2 emails and then that's it. If you don't update it, you don't update it, So it's not funded. $16,000 is what I got for this. So at $16,000, that's my total production budget. So everybody in the world said it is impossible to do a feature film for $16,000, right? Impossible. The minimal budget to do this film, $100,000. Our initial budget that we would like to have done it at, more like $250,000 to $1 million. $250,000 to $1 million. So we got a ways to go. So what do you think? Did I do it? Yeah, my clicker doesn't work anymore. Click it. Now it works. Pre-production. If you're going to do a movie, here's what you should do. You should have not very many actors and not very many locations, right? If you're going to do a budget film. Been told over and over and over and over again. This is a list of locations. Let's see, that's 59 before it faded off the end. Locations. Had over 60 actors or something like that. We put together a 16-day shoot. 16 days. And we brought it in under schedule and under budget. Under schedule and under budget. Did the actors get paid? No, they didn't get paid. There is no way to pay actors. If they get $150 a day and there's 60 actors and they work, some of them 13 days or something like that. Now, luckily, there were a lot of small roles and stuff like that. The little girl that you saw in the very first trailer, she'd grown considerably by the time we got to the actual filming of the movie. I just saw a picture on Facebook yesterday. She is now in a film or a project. I don't know what the project is because it's a top secret, I guess, with Katie Holmes. So she posted all these pictures with Katie Holmes on her website. What does she have to do to get into a picture with Katie Holmes? have to have some kind of experience, right? So all of these actors, some of these are great, great actors, really trooper actors, would love to be in that. I can't tell you. I say going through this process over and over and over again, I said, if the movie never gets made, how many people have we impacted? Well, certainly 60 actors, right? All of the crew members, all the people that supported the campaign and built the community around this, the whole Philadelphia filmmakers community were impacted by these daily interactions. If you want to make a difference, go out there and do something big. Hasn't cost me any money yet. It was a lot of work. We were able to wrap the picture in 16 days, the end of 2019. And guess what happened next? Yeah, COVID. So I sat around and I didn't have a heck of a lot of money to put into post-production. How many people think post-production is as expensive as production? Yeah. The typical post-production team for a feature film is 30, 40 people. So I learned how to do all that stuff myself. Run the trailer.
Life's a penny walk. You make one choice differently, and absolutely nothing is the same.
Jayla's a tough kid. She's mad at everyone.
Hey!
Be careful with this one, Destiny.
For the last 20 years, did you have clothes on your back? Who do you think paid for that? Your big checkbook in the sky?
Do you want me to fix this? Or you try handling my job?
Don't worry, I'm sure you'll screw this up like everything else. It's the can't dance. You try to please everyone, you get screwed, and then who's left to deal with it?
Your work is all very impressive. You'll be the youngest chief of staff the mayor's ever had.
Gentlemen, my father was a councilman, and while he wasn't always attentive, the one thing he did give me was experience. I can handle it.
Can we at least agree on being exclusive? On paper, it makes perfect sense.
Let's see what happens. Just see where it leads us.
Doesn't it bother you? I mean, the guy's got a wife and kids, right? Ever think about what this does to them? Like, it doesn't matter. The ends justify the means.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody.
But you are, right?
My dad doesn't give a shit, and my mom doesn't know what day it is. Now all I got is you, and you're just some washed-up do-gooder.
That's Sam Robbins' ward. He's not budging.
Destiny Drifting has been implicated in the political strong-arming of Sam Robbins. Miss Drifting is accused of deliberately tying up streets in Robbins' ward, which caused the death of 8-year-old Amanda Rawlings.
Let's make it happen. We'll find out exactly what Todd's done.
Destiny Drifting is going to prison if I have any say in it.
Nothing about justice is black and white. To get control, you gotta take it.
It's simple. The mayor is bad. You cut out the bad before it rots the good. Whatever it takes.
I have not had contact with that woman that wasn't entirely professional.
I just got another call and you're not gonna like it. We got 15 minutes to get downtown.
Theater screening here. Yeah, remember to use your mic, Ken. Did a theater screening for cast and crew. That's some of the cast that was able to make it to the screening and stuff like that. Some amazing people, some dear friends. I got a million stories to tell you about this, but here's the important part. We changed lives, right? We changed lives. I don't care if this never gets to anybody else in the world. We changed lives already, right? We changed lives already. So I'm going to skip all this stuff that I got. I ordinarily 3,000 slides. I had literally, I have 1,100 slides of stuff, but I won't tell you much about this. These are some of your excuses, by the way, why you haven't done this yourself, you know. What was Larry Steinhaus's big advice when I started my movie? Can you guess? Just do it. Make the movie, he said 100 times over. Just like I say to him, nobody ever went broke taking a profit. He says, make the movie. Here's what happens when you make the movie. The difference between I want to make a movie, I'm going to make a movie someday, I'm going to write a great screenplay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. How many people want to get behind you? How many people want? What if you just said, I am making a movie. We're starting on September 16th. Do you want to be in it? It's 2,000 people screaming, yes, yes, I want to be in your movie. How are you going to do it? You put out the word. Who's the great DP? We had a crew of about 4 people that put together this film. Typical crew on a film is not very much, but if you saw the feature, so here's some of those things, you know, how you do it. I have a whole system. I say get a mentor. I have a whole action plan for exactly how you do this kind of stuff. I have a decade and a half worth of experience of things that I want to share before I go on so that you can make an impact in the world. I won't show you my fancy diagrams and explain all this stuff. I'll tell you if you're in the area or you can get into this building on November the 16th. I'm doing the start of the Impact School of Marketing. And you can come and we will discuss your project, not my project, your projects, things that you want to do, the things that you want to dream for, things you want to do in this building, because we're going to build something special here. We're going to build a community of people working together. Because you think I did this movie alone? No, I didn't do this movie alone. Do you think I got all those big websites and everything doing it alone? No, I didn't do that. I built a community. We're building a community here. It starts on Tuesday, November the 16th. It's going to cost $30,000. No, it's not. $97 if you want to be in that group that comes on November 16th. It's a Tuesday. It's all day from like 9 o'clock in the morning till about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We will pick apart your ideas. I'll have some amazing people here that can support you. If you'd like to do that, I would love to have you join that that community and come to that, okay? And if you want to bring a guest for the $97, I'll let you bring a guest. So there you go. How's that? Can't do any better than that. Thank you very much for your time. I hope it helped.
Did you guys even know that sitting back there all that time was this guy? So there's 2 lessons in that. One is make sure you shake his hand before you leave. And the other one is you never know who you're sitting in a room with. Right? I mean, did you know Ignacio is a multimillionaire? Well, not yet, but he will be. All right, we're going to go have some lunch. Be back here at 2. Yes, 2. Yes, 2 o'clock. Be back here at 2. We got another great speaker coming in, and we've got the panel, and we got the prizes. So if you guys want to eat dinner with Phil and I, you're going to get a chance to win dinner with Phil and I and the rest of the crew. And Ken comes to those meetings too, by the way. He comes to those dinners too. So we'll see you guys in about an hour and a half.